Hey everybody, happy Saturday night. Today is July 12th, 2025. This is Across the Pitch post-game show. Right now I'm by myself. I know I typically sign on about 15 minutes after the final whistle, but the dining room area that we typically air from when we are at the stadium is that when I walked over to it, the lights were already off. So I said, you know what, let me not push my luck. Let me hop on, do the show as best and quickly as I can. Jose Nunez is going to be joining us in a short while, probably in a couple minutes. Dave Miller as well is going to be joining us tonight out in England. He had some free time. He decided to hop on. So we're going to have a lot to discuss today with the Philadelphia Union. As I'm doing that, sharing out some social media links, excuse me that I'm looking down, but a lot to talk about today from a pretty convincing 2-0 win against the New York Red Bulls, which would be the 15th consecutive game that the Union have walked away with some sort of point, either a win or a draw against New York. If I remember correctly from my preview article, it should be 11 wins and 4 draws in the last 15 matches, which is pretty damn incredible if you ask me. Again, apologies as I kind of look for my links to share out on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, all that great stuff. But in terms of the goal scorers tonight, or rather, excuse me, let's go back up, take a step back at the lineup. Basically, the same exact lineup we had on Wednesday evening at the rained out match. We had Ty Brebo alongside Bruno Damiani. We had Quinn Sullivan alongside Indy Vasilev, Nathan Harriel back from international duty, slotted next to the center backs and Kai Wagner, Makanya and Glesson and Wagner in front of Blake. So a really strong lineup, a really promising lineup, one that on Wednesday night I felt very confident in. I'm posting on Twitter right now. Again, see, these guys are running late. They're killing me here. I have to do this all by myself while I'm talking. Going live to talk too. Okay, now that that's taken care of, I can focus more on the commenters that will come in and people watching. So, again, great lineup going into tonight. The energy at Subaru Park was fantastic. Uh, if you recall the Charlotte match, if you were at the stadium for the Charlotte match, it was like a playoff type atmosphere. I'd say the vibe again today was about the same. Now, granted, it helps that the team is winning, so therefore the atmosphere is going to be better just from that alone. But whenever you have the Red Bulls in town, it just adds a little bit more, oomph into that spirit inside Subaru Park. So, if you remember, in the past we've done the burning the bull at the tailgate. A couple years ago, which was 2023, they had the pinata, which was personally my favorite. I loved it. Fantastic way to get the fans involved directly into that. Today they had like this giant bull made of ice, and I guess they like melted it. I got there too late. I couldn't exactly see what they did with it, but they essentially melted it down. Uh, I guess with some sort of device. I don't know. If anybody has a video of that or if they saw it firsthand, send me the video, please, or DM me. I would love to actually see how it went down. Maybe I'm sure the Sons of Ben will probably post it as well, but I'll check it out. Jose, how you doing, man? I got on early because you know how it is with the dining room area. Dave Miller, right on time. I was just telling Jose, Dave, in the
Yeah.
dining room, I might get kicked out. So I wanted to get on a few minutes early. I haven't said much at all. I basically introduced the show, talked about the pregame festivities, the atmosphere, the crowd. They had like an ice sculpture for the Red Bull at the tailgate. That's really all I got into. 2-0, though. I don't know if you guys expected a shutout of this caliber. I think the Union played a very complete game today. Now, Dave, I don't know. I know you only caught the second half, but Jose, did you catch the entire match?
I did.
Okay.
First and foremost, thank you to everybody who's hopping on right away or listening on feeds after the fact. But yeah, I caught the whole game as I was getting sort of just ready, acquainted, whatever, for my 8:30 slate with MLS, and this felt like one of the most complete games that the Union have played in a long time. I think that the first one might have been against Cincinnati, or maybe the only one against Cincinnati earlier this year, where it was just like not even close. And sure, Cincinnati was in between CONCACAF Champions Cup matches, so you could argue that maybe they were tired or maybe threw out a different lineup than they expected or wanted to. But this felt very a very thorough game, and that first half specifically
Yep.
was very telling of what this team can do. And make no mistake, a Red Bull game will always be a Red Bull game, but this Red Bull team is not as good, unfortunately, as last year. So not to take away from the victory, but just to sort of add that tiny little bit of context where this feels like a Red Bull team that is just nowhere near what they were last year.
Absolutely. Dave, I have a question for you, but I'm going to bring up Lord of Olympia's comments real quick. Hi, Mike. Hello, how you doing today? Great defensive effort. Second half a little less intense, which I agree with as well. But Lord of Limbe does say here, first half as good as any this year, which basically piggybacks off what you said. What you said, Jose, in that first 45 minutes. But Dave, the Philadelphia Union have struggled over the last couple of matches with injuries, heavy rotation in the lineup. They lose. They come in here losing two in a row. But now you have a pretty solid win against a team that you basically manhandled over the last 5 years. I mean, it's been a long time since they've gotten a point against them. From a confidence booster, Dave, how good does this feel as a fan, as a player, to know that you can take care of business and you did it in a really convincing fashion?
I think it definitely settles nerves, especially. I mean, the last two games you can't really put too much stock into it. In terms of if you look at, well, I guess the natural game is probably a bit more frustrating losing against 10 men to a last minute penalty. But I think, as we've sort of alluded to the last couple of weeks, and Mike, you've said it quite strongly as well. Like you've been without some of your most important players the last few weeks due to the Concacaf Gold Cup qualifiers of sorts, whatever. So again, you've been missing a lot of key components, and this is the result of getting everyone back tonight. Mikel the exception. But yeah, I mean, from what I saw, I saw the goals on social media. I mean, the first goal was just right place, right time, capitalising on the mistake, and then the second goal, really nice move, one touch passing, and hey, I mean, a few weeks ago, people were lamenting Damiani for not being able to hit the target and not take his chances. He took it perfectly tonight, and that's what it matters.
Absolutely. A few other notes for this match. No Michael Ua, no Jesus Bueno. We did have Chris Donovan and Sal Levis on the bench. Alejandro Bedoya, tip our cap to Alejandro as he gets his 300th appearance as a Philadelphia Union member. Fantastic stuff. He only played for like 3 minutes, but it's good for him. He's obviously had a great career with us. I think we've said his praises enough.
What do you mean, Mike? Mike, what do you mean? 3 minutes is a long time.
I mean, if you're Ty Baribo in his debut, you're right. 3 minutes is. Oh yeah, well that too as well. I see where you're going with. Michael says, "Man, you guys are fast." Michael, I know I'm a little late usually, about an extra 10 minutes. I had to hop in early because the lights were already off where I'm at, so I was like, I gotta squeeze in a show. But Michael said, "Just got to my car." Mike, if you want to add into the comments, if you're not driving, drive safely. What was your vibe in the stands today? How was the atmosphere for you? And Valerie says, "Tip our cat." Listen, can't always be perfect, Valerie. My apologies, but another thing to mention, the tifo they had was Red Bull gives you wings. There was a little spin off of that. Tifo was fine, whatever. But essentially, one of the biggest things that I was noticing today was the impact of Quinn Sullivan in that first half, especially. Jose, I mean, I feel like he was on every side of the field. He obviously had that fantastic assist for Bruno. I mean, we've talked about how much we've missed them, but what did you see tonight, especially in that first 45?
I think I watched and fans enjoyed, and sure the coaching staff also got to see a Quinn Sullivan that maybe has a bone to pick in terms of only really getting a very small amount of time with this U.S. national team that was often criticized with its starting lineups, etc. So it was interesting to see him go and maybe it's fair to say blow it out of the water. I'm obviously not listening to Bradley Carnell right now. I don't even have it up unless I'm checking Slack for any duty I got to do. But what was interesting, and I'm intrigued to hear more. It felt or it looked like he wasn't going. There were times where he was favoring his leg a little bit. I wonder how he's holding up. And obviously, I'm seeing it through a 65-inch screen, and then also on a 13-inch MacBook. So like, it looked like he was maybe favoring his right side a little bit. I think. I don't
If
know.
I don't mind stepping in, Valerie had texted me and said they had mentioned on the broadcast his left side was injured. That's a torso or leg. So I definitely agree with you. Like obviously there's something going on with him, and he came out earlier than expected too. I think.
Yeah, and well, who knows, right? Nate
Mhm.
came out early too, so like, was it expected for him to come out? If anything, the one thing I didn't expect, I didn't expect Frankie Westfield to be back this match. I thought they would have held him out for Montreal, maybe. I hate to say an easier game, but like a game that's not a Red Bull game, right? That comes with its own features and and interesting angles to it. But all in all, I think the single play I will highlight, and I think Dave will agree with me. that pass to Damiani is the type of pass that European teams pay millions of dollars for. That single touch pass that just is perfectly timed with the offside trap, though there really wasn't one because New York Red Bulls line was all over the place. That's the type of pass that gets somebody a transfer to Europe. Whether I don't know where it is, but that was an unbelievable touch.
Some of the comments here. Cole says, "Missed the game. We'll rewatch tomorrow." But Cole, I'm glad you joined us tonight. You'll have a great time watching it. It was definitely one that I would rewatch as well. Really, just easy win from start to finish, in my opinion, at least. Mark says the boys are back in town. Yeah, the three of us haven't been together in a while, so I appreciate all of us hopping on today. But one thing regarding that Bruno Damiani goal, it was just quick. Bruno, Ty, Quinn, Bruno, just boom, 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 boom. I thought the passing today was pretty good. I know, Dave, you only watched the second half. Did you notice anything with the passing today and how they looked out there in that final 45?
I mean, I caught the final 25 minutes because the wrestling pay-per-view I was watching didn't finish till like 2 a.m. But I thought...
What a sentence.
Yeah, hey, listen. Hangman Page won the AEW World title. Incredible match. I'm sure there'll be the wrestling show we've got on our network will cover it at some point. But the passing, I think, was a bit lacking in the half an hour I saw. I mean, there was one instance where I think it was Nate Harriel tried to play a through ball to Ty Baribo and just a bit more pace on it, or a bit more of intensity to the pass, and Baribo was throwing goal. We sort of played it just behind him or just a bit off center, which I think took it off Baribo's course a bit. I thought Baribo did well to recover and get across the way, but he just thought if he'd perhaps played the pass, as you sort of mentioned, Jose, like as I know we don't really put Nate Harriel and Quinn Sullivan in terms of passing production in the same tier, but if you just played it in if you'd just done something similar to Nate Sullivan in terms of accuracy or the perfection of it, I mean, it's probably 3-0. But I think, just again, a credit to the team as well that they just, in terms of pressing and applying pressure, they did it for the full 90 minutes. I think even heading into stoppage time, the Oliver's chance where Bedoya was pressing and the pressure that Bedoya applied forced a mistake, and Olivas went through and goal, and unfortunately didn't take the chance. But I think that's just another credit to the team that perhaps they needed that break in midweek to regroup and go again. And I know it's really frustrating to see that the game called off in midweek, but if that has led to another start of a new run, then
absolutely
you got to take it.
Lord of Olympia says midfield was really on top tonight. Michael says Indy's finishing is still lacking, but he had a great goal. Valerie says we looked like we were on up a man, or like we should look when we're up a man. That is absolutely agree, Valerie. Jose, one thing I don't know if you heard it on the broadcast or not, but KSU was back tonight in the stands. Did you see their chants going on in the first half at all?
No, I did not. Mainly because I had my nephew sleeping over with the boys, plus the Spanish feed and then the English feed all going on at once. So it was all sort of muffled. I'm so glad they're back. I know that a lot of them are going through some life changes and having kids and whatnot. So glad to hear that they're finding time to come in.
I was not expecting, and all of a sudden I saw them do the Ole chant at the clap. I was like, wait a minute. And I saw Corey out there leading the way. So it was great that they're back, at least for one game. Of all games that come back, this is a great one to do so. Let's talk about Makanya, though. I thought he had a very strong performance. He almost had a goal right before Indy scored one. He had a great defensive play in the second half. Mandy says hello from La G. Mandy, if you're out there still, by the time I get done, I'll come by and say hi. But I thought Makanya and Glesnes both played strong matches today. I think I went to FOTMob, and Makanya was rated 8.1, Glesnes at 7.5. So overall, really strong game. But Dave, I don't know how much you watch of the recent matches, but these center backs really seem to be gelling and working together fantastically. Anything you noticed from Makanya and Glesnes before I shoot it to Jose with the same question?
So I think, again, with that central defensive partnerships, it's just a case of building that trust and that trust together, and that building that connection. I think, especially what we saw in the early part of the season, where it was so much change in that central defensive pairings, whether it was Glavinovic and Bacano one game, or Glesnes and Bacano whatever, or Harriel and Bacano. There wasn't much stability. There wasn't much consistency or continuity there.
Mm-hmm.
I think now, as you sort of alluded to, now we're starting to see Glesnes and Makanya play more games together and get more game time. I think, again, that's then create a greater partnership where they both trust each other and they sort of understand what each other's going to do in the game as opposed to having to guess. And again, I think it's harsh it sounds on Andrew Rick, but again, having a goalkeeper like Andre Blake behind you as well probably adds and instills more confidence. He's going to be guiding you more and reading the game more.
Absolutely. Frank B says it's great to have the team back together. And I agree 100%. It definitely felt like a different squad out there than what we saw in Nashville, in Columbus, even in Chicago, really. But you're talking about Andre Blake and this defense and the center back pairing. I know we lost 1-0 last week, but that was against, what is it last week? Against Nashville. But we didn't give up a goal that game except for the penalty kick. And then we get a shutout today. So we've had 2 consecutive games where we haven't allowed a goal outside of a PK. I think that's a lot to build off of. That's a very big positive for this team to look at in terms of, their offense is back. They got 2 goals. Quinn Sullivan's creating again. But this defense is really coming together pretty well. And I thought the Red Bulls were basically ineffective the entire match. I don't think they had a shot on goal tonight. So, Jose, again, kind of bounced it off the center back conversation, but just how important 2 strong defensive outings is for this club.
Yeah, Makanya continues to be a revelation this year. It feels like another case of, and sure, again, I think it's trademarked at this point or whatever, owning the rights to this phrase. Like, not everybody's path is linear, right? Like, Owethu went through a really weird roller coaster to finally be at the level that he is now, right? With having to play Union 2, doing so well with Union 2, almost winning it all, getting the red card in the final of the MLS Next Pro final game against Dallas or whatever, to not having this spectacular year. And it makes you wonder, another Baribo-like situation where the guy couldn't sniff the first team at all last year. And now he's going and putting, what did you say it was on FOTMob? Not that those metrics are tell all, but like
8.1.
An 8.1 is incredible.
I had the best number at 8.4.
Sure, for a defender, that's incredible, right? Like, and it shows. I think there was that specific play where he trailed the entire play. I know I clipped it, but he basically ran across the entire box to then ultimately block the shot. Mm-hmm. So great job by him. And Glesnes continues to maybe roll back the clock a little bit. So it'll be interesting. What does this year, should it continue at this pace, mean for him contractually, right? He has has an option, I think, for next year. Can't recall. I don't think he is. He's definitely not out of contract the way that Mikel Ua, but has an option. I'm sure it's not cheap. Probably very much a situation like Jack Elliott, who went on to Chicago and got his 15-20% pay raise. So wow, Mark, thank you. Cincinnati down 3-2. I'm fairly certain that's the game I'm going to have to write about.
The live standings have Philly at 43 points right now over Cincinnati. We would have 42 at this current point.
It's Cincinnati with 2 goals up as well, 2-0 up. So,
Valerie says, Joe got you to use FOTMob? Yes, actually, finally. So again, I come from basketball backgrounds. ESPN is like my life app. Finally, I was like, I'll finally download it since Joe kept giving me a hard time. So yeah, FOTMob is now on my phone. It took me long enough, honestly. But Jose, in terms of the Sal Levis, I think a few people have mentioned in the comments, has a tough miss there. I think you played forward, if I remember correctly, or midfielder. We've all attacking mid. We've all had those misses that just absolutely kill you, and they just you think about it for the next week and a half.
Yeah, especially at this level, right? Like I can't imagine. I can't think of many moments where players find themselves that open, beating an offside or whatever the pass was, and then ultimately just. I see what he did, right, in terms of just wanting to overpower Cornell, just blast it in across the side. But all he really needed to do, and I'm totally oversimplifying it, is just a little feint, and then he could pass it in, right? Like I don't know, or I could have done something different, but you know what? He got minutes. It's more than CJ Olney can say for the first team. Obviously, his loan officially official, and actually debuted with Lexington today. Played about 20 minutes, and oddly enough, went on the field at the same time as Corey Burke. So double Union connection out in Lexington today. And Corey Burke went on to score in the 93rd minute to bring it level 1-1.
Again, I miss Corey Burke all the time.
He would be
Mandy,
such a difference maker in this team this year. I
Oh.
believe that through and through. Just a big old bloke up top, right, Dave?
I was like, imagine these 4 strikers if Burke was in that mix. I mean,
You'd be-
Mike,
He'd be
Why not?
disgusting.
that'd be amazing. Mandy says McConney has really impressed me. Spent a lot of this match just watching him and how he moves. Absolutely. Valerie says thanks for the Scory Burke update. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. So we go into Wednesday's match against Montreal with riding a pretty good high. Now Quinn comes out again. Might be a little banged up. Dave, considering Montreal really isn't the strongest opponent, do you run Quinn out there on short rests again? I mean, what would you do with Sullivan? Because it's so hard to take him out after seeing how productive he is. But like, it's also a very long season, and behind him, there's not a lot of depth in terms of attacking and creativity.
Yeah, it's a tough one, especially, I mean, with the trip to Houston coming up as well. I mean,
Yeah.
as you sort of alluded to, it's a winnable home game against Montreal. It's not like they're having a good, well, don't exactly with the greatest team are there. So I think it could be one of those games that Bradley Carnell could look at and think he could get away with resting a couple of players and making sure they're prepared for Houston. But again, I think, as I'm sure we've alluded to before as well, you prioritise those Eastern Conference games over those, cross-divisional or cross-conference games.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that perhaps he does prioritise that game, and we've seen it before, where Carnell has rolled out very sporadic and random teams in certain road games and has gone full strength. In perhaps games we thought, that's Union should win that comfortably, and he's gone full strength. So again, trying to predict what Bradley Carnell does with his starting 11 is a bit more. What's the word? It's a bit more difficult to predict than Jim Curtin. That's for sure.
Right. Oh yeah, I was honestly, I saw Westfield warming up in the first half. I'm thinking, like, is he going to come on at 45th minute, or at the start of the second half? Yeah, go ahead, Jose.
Mike and Dave, I want to get your live reactions right now. Pull up your phones and go on the Union's Twitter page and look at their celebration tweet.
Okay, here we go. Live reactions here. Celebration tweet. The Lukic one?
No. I think it's their latest one.
Okay.
Duke duo.
I'm sorry.
Jose-
Underneath the dupe one with the dumb
Oh,
sign. I think it's so stupid.
Oh, that is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I can't believe it.
I can't even describe it on air because there's so much inside context and inside jokes. You ever see the Office where Michael's like, I like inside jokes too. Yeah, this is what's happening for our viewers right now. That's funny. Back to the game. But Jose, Montreal, you might have Michael Ua back. Carnell did mention in the press conference this past Friday that Bueno could be seeing potential return next week. Bruno Damiani doesn't play a full match tonight. I mean, I don't mind getting a little creative with Wednesday's lineup, but at the same time, to Dave's point, I don't want to sacrifice Eastern Conference wins either.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think it's a fine balance, and I don't envy any head coach who has to make these decisions, right, with midweek games. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing about that dumb fucking tweet. It's so funny. I did not know that Union could or would make fun of us.
Apparently, yeah. Basically, I guess summarize it. The Union's Twitter made fun of an independent media member, so we're all at risk now. But go ahead, Jose.
I don't know if it's making fun of you. Follow what I'm saying, though.
Teasing, playful.
Teasing a little bit. Wow. Yeah. Now I'm gonna keep my eyes out for anything I do or share. It's fair game to even them. The lineup this week is gonna be tricky. I can see a world where this is or what should have been the Kevin Sullivan start debut in MLS. I think that's where this makes sense.
Sure.
And the reality is that maybe it's a situation where all 5 subs get used within the first 70 minutes, right? To keep things moving, keep things rolling, rather than, putting out one sub in the 50th, one sub in the 60th. Maybe it's just like a bigger slate of just changes. And then ultimately, what was it? Donovan came in with 2 minutes left or whatever it was, not even. So
yeah, seconds. I mean, he pulled almost a Maribo. So
Right. So, uh, yeah, the fortunate thing too is that this game's at home and they don't have to go to Canada for it. So that's a gigantic. It's at home, right?
yes, so
Yeah. Okay. So they don't have to. They do not have to travel, which is a blessing, considering that the quick turnaround for
if you
once it worked out their way.
Mandy mentions admin has folded on all of you. You know what, Mandy? I don't doubt that, and I'm a little worried about what they have on me. But the lineup against Montreal to start the season, basically, if I'm looking at this correctly, the same exact lineup we saw tonight, identical to what we saw tonight. No, I'm sorry. Donovan started that match in Montreal, and he was replaced by Bruno Damiani. Ty Bribo started that match. He was replaced by Michael Ua. Jesus Bueno replaced Quinn Sullivan. Harriel for Vasilev and Raffanella for Lukic. So, I mean, if you're going to compare lineups, we're missing Ua and Bueno of all that rotation and that I just mentioned. So maybe we see those two players back. Hopefully, get them 25 minutes or so before the next match against Houston. Also, in that match, Oliver Semle found the bench. It was not Andrew Rick yet against Montreal, so that's an interesting little note there. I don't know. I'm not. I don't want to ever say that this is a trap game, but it feels like a trap game. You really handle your big rival, beat them 15 times in a row, or unbeaten 15 times in a row, and now you have this very poor Montreal team coming in before a road trip. I think it's easy to fall asleep in this situation. When they played them the last time, they scored in the second minute with the Indy Vasilev goal, and they scored in the 84th minute after Montreal had tied it up in stoppage time. So if I'm the Union, and I think to Cole's point, try to win it in that first half. Make it 2-0 by the time they hit the locker room, and at least now you can start rotating the subs, and you don't feel as pressed to go a full 90 plus to win it. But overall, I'm really happy with tonight's performance. I think I lost Jose. Dave, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
We lost last show we had. We lost Jose too. So I don't know what's going on with his Wi-Fi. But Dave, any final thoughts here though after this pretty impressive win?
I think for the Union, it's just good getting back to winning ways more than anything. I think that probably what was tonight was mostly about was just a bit of a reset in terms of you come to the game off two back-to-back defeats, 1-0 defeats as well. Probably both frustrating defeats in terms of they probably were avoidable. I mean, even the Columbus game, if everyone switched on properly, don't concede that goal at the end of the first half, and then again a silly penalty at the end of the game against Nashville cost you another point there. I mean, I think again it was just about proving that the team still has that winning mentality, and they proved it again tonight. And it's having that bounce back mentality from coming back from setbacks that perhaps we didn't see last year and the year before. We're starting to see it again, and probably, hopefully, we'll stand in good stead going into the playoffs. Especially, I don't know if they're still doing it this year, that stupid NBA, baseball and hockey styled best of whatever 3 or whatever series.
Best of 3 in the first round.
Yeah.
And that may have been the worst idea that I've seen this league do in quite some time. I really am not for it whatsoever.
Just do a 2-legged tie. It's not hard. You want to do multiple games, do a 2-legged tie.
They do it basically like they're trying to make it like American sports and make the most of it. I get it. It's dumb for soccer, but I get it. Frank says, when's Ua looking to be back? Can't wait to get him back on the field. Really makes a difference. Frank, Carnell mentioned that of the 3 injured players, which would have been Westfield, Ua, and Bueno, in that order, Westfield, Ua, and Bueno, they were all, I guess, like green, yellow, red in terms of like wanting to come back and be healthy. Obviously, we see Frankie's back today. No biggie. Ua was questionable, according to Carnell, entering tonight's match. So he doesn't show up in the lineup. Obviously, he's not 100% there yet, or at least getting close to playing. So, maybe next week against Montreal, I think that'd be a great time to do that and throw him in there. Jose, I see you got to go for an assignment, so I'll let you go. And then Dave, I'll just talk about Ua real quick. Oh, Mandy says, I think he's been training a bit, so that's helpful. And then Lord of Olympia says, what happened to Marcus Anderson? I was expecting him to be on the bench, Lord of Olympia, over Chris Donovan. I guess maybe because the contract that Dono has, they have to throw him out there because he's making a lot of money compared to Marcus Anderson. But at least I'm happy to see Sal Olivas getting some time. He was a substitution before Chris Donovan, so at least that's positivity. Dave, I mean, would you rather see Marcus over Dono? Any problems with Olivas coming in there? I mean, what's your thoughts on this? I think a lot of fans are tired of the Chris Donovan experiment. We've had this conversation already, but he's on the field, he's getting minutes, and then all of a sudden he's gone again, just like last year.
I think Anderson's probably looked brighter. Or he's done more positive things. I mean, this past couple of months over Donovan, who I think we've alluded to in games he started, he's sort of been absent or he hasn't been involved. Whereas when you look at Anderson, I mean, comes on and scores a winning goal. I think was it Charlotte? Was it Charlotte game he scored the winning goal?
In the death, yep.
The death, and then do you know what I mean, like after then having that positive performance in the friendly as well, like and you sort of look at it, no disrespect to Chris Donovan, but he just hasn't performed. He's not lived up to obviously the money that he's been paid, and that's, I guess, not his fault. He didn't, in terms of the money he's being paid. That's the team's decision to pay him that money. He's just not delivering.
And Mandy mentions here would take Marcus and Sal over Donald. See, at first I was assuming it was going to be Marcus and Eddie Davis coming on as the next two in line. Sal has worked his way into that conversation. He's been now available for us off the bench a handful of times, and he was actually on the bench on Wednesday instead of Chris Donovan. So clearly Carnell sees a lot out of Sal. He almost had a fantastic chance to score a goal today. Cole says here, plus Marcus is versatile. We know that from Union 2 coverage, he can play the 10. So I agree there. I think we saw what happens when Quinn isn't available. So yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Marcus there. Throw some more comments up here. Steve, are you looking for more podcasters? Not right now, Steve, but maybe one day. If I move to England with Dave, and I don't know, we'll see. If I can't cover the Union anymore, maybe one day. Actually, Dave, you're coming to Philly, aren't you? In 2 months, right?
In September, yeah.
There you go. So Dave will be local for the first time since last year when we saw each other last. Cole says, honestly, he has shown more than Bender has. I agree 100% there. I think Bender is just a lesser version of Indy Vassilev. In my opinion, they're both very similar. And Colin says, my guy, Mikey B. Listen, Colin, it was good seeing you today. He and I both got a tattoo just now. So we're both like, our ink's kind of like trying to avoid everybody. Marcus has good pace. And then when's the Acrease? When's that, Dave? Do you know?
I thought so.
This comment right here, I'm not sure. When's the Acrease? Am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't know.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
Wednesday across the pitch tailgate.
Oh, I think there might have been an error. My bad. Wednesday across the pitch tailgate. Listen, I don't know. That's not a bad idea. So we'll throw things around. It's so hard for us with lives, and none of us live close to each other at all. So we got to get something together. But listen, I'm going to get kicked out of here pretty soon. So this is Across the Pitch, a very quick post-game show today. Dave, I don't know if you have anything coming with Gillingham. I know that they're in preseason already, right?
Yeah, second preseason game today. Okay. So, I mean, Saturday ended 0-0, so it's good to be back.
Absolutely. This is Across the Pitch post-game show, like I said. Union 2-0 win against New York Red Bulls. 15 games unbeaten now for the blue and gold against their New Jersey rivals. On Wednesday, we have a match against Montreal at home. I will not be at the stadium. I will be home. Lord of Olympia, thanks. Good show, guys. I appreciate it so much. But we will go live on Wednesday night, 10 o'clock or so, for that game. Next Saturday, the 19th, I am going to be at an Iron Pigs game in Allentown area, Lehigh Valley. So I won't be on the show next Saturday. So I don't know, Dave, Jose, if you all want to hop on for the Houston match, but I'm taking a week off. I'm so sorry, and I'll be back after that. But besides that, go Union, right? Good to go.
Back in the win column.
That's right.